last seen headed north on Highway 480. The largest, and they are still searching for him. The Joker is wanted for.
Next week, Thursday, there will be a giveaway of something really good. You don't want to miss it. What, do your balls drop off? You don't want to be called scared, do you? You gonna be there? You ain't gonna miss it, are ya? Next Thursday is the show. You gonna be there? You gonna watch it? It's coming. I promise it will be worth your while. Ho hee ho hee ho.
Well, there you have it. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. It is plastered all over. The contest will be drawn next week. In the description and on both this video and the actual video that you just watched, which is posted on all my trailers, there are all the entries you need to do. Literally, I am giving away a full box, hundreds of items in one of these, at least $500 worth in here of inventory for you. That's the giveaway, and it will be drawn next week during the show To enter, you have to be subscribed to my Instagram page. Once you're subscribed, all you have to do is share the link onto your page and tag it with 3 different things which are listed in there. You need to tag it with the Auction Professor, eBay Reseller, and the Dark Knight. Once it's tagged, you are entered. I am going to print up everyone's name, and it's going to be drawn live on the show, and I will announce the winner on our Instagram feed. So everything you need to know is in the description. This is literally stuff out of my inventory. It's not junk. It's literally something you're going to make some good money at. You'll get to learn about things like postcards, photos, trade cards, military buttons, and things like that will all be in there. It'll be a very nice box full of stuff. I did video it. It may be shown what's in the box on next week's show, or I may leave it as a surprise. I can pretty much guarantee anybody who gets it should be very, very, very happy. It's free, clear, nothing to do. There is no purchase necessary in any way, shape, or form. So you'll get it. It's shipped by me. You don't pay for a dime. Not a single thing is on your expense. So that is what you got to do to win that. I'm sure you will be extremely happy. It's going to be those items that everybody asks, well, how do you find them? You're going to have hundreds of them in a box, free and clear to do with what you want. Just before Christmas, you'll have time if you contact me right after next week's show, and I will ship them out immediately via priority mail to you in one of the big boxes. Should be to you in 3 days from the day I get the winner's address. The only thing you would need to do is to contact me. You have to be live on the show and be watching your Instagram feed while the show is going on. Other than that, that's it. No, nothing to pay, nothing, anything. Nothing special is going to get you any special privilege or anything else. I'm also giving away an original artwork that I did. It's a watercolor. I've shown it. It'll be shown out on the show as well, too, that I used to produce postcards. It is a sold-out postcard. Every one of those is gone. I do not have the official card that to give you, so it's literally an original. I think it's 11 by 14 hand-done watercolor of a sold-out postcard of ours. So you will have the original of that one. Again, there's going to be 2. So we're going to do 2 drawings on that. It's just going to be random. They'll all be sitting here. You'll see who's all the entrants is here. And somebody, me or the wife or somebody else, will pick them on the show, and we'll announce it from there. So that is what the announcement's going to be. That trailer that you just watched is, again, visible as a separate video. It's been posted as a snippet of that, excuse me, to Instagram already. So the video that you need to share on Instagram is up there as of right this very second. So that's all you got to do, tag and share on your page. It's a legitimate, excellent gift, excellent freebie if you like collectibles and you want to know more. You know, so it's a good plus. Everybody's asking, saying they can't find inventory. I figured that would probably be the best bet to give you, would be some good inventory with almost 2 months to spare before the end of 4th quarter. So perfect example there. Hopefully that's something that you're interested in. Again, if you want to see that trailer, it is posted all over on the channel. It's on every trailer. So when you log in, even if you're a current or a new subscriber, you will see it wherever you go. As well, it's been pushed out. I will pin it to Facebook once the show is done for tonight. For those in Patreon, I've got another video that should be up tomorrow, answering some more questions and addressing some more posts. So that will be up tomorrow. It's literally, well, I can't say the last part's totally edited. I did 3 sections for you. So the 2 that I said in the video, the live show on Patreon, this past one, the 2 that I said, that's in the video, both of those, the business policies, and I can't remember the other one that's written down over there. And then I've added in another topic as well from a question that just came in. So that is the topic there. Now, sales-wise, let's go right into eBay itself, because I've been paying a lot of attention to those people with sales comments and things like that, trying to get a gist on where everybody's going. My guess is for the next couple weeks, it might be slow for some people from all of the feedback and comments and messages that I've seen. I'm not really slow. I can't really complain. We're listing 120 minimum, I think, a day right now. Listings. and they bring in enough sales. Even if we were dropping, the sales are still coming in. I did let my markdown roll out, so it expired. I let it expire for 5 days, and I re-rolled it out. If you've watched my videos, I showed you me setting those up and me actually starting those. So I do keep track of those. They increased our sales, the sales markdown, I think it was like $1,400 just on the one store and just in 30 days. So it's not a fortune, but you know, $1,400 is extra money. Multiply that times 12 and then multiply that if you've got a couple stores. So, you know, it's an overall thing you do constantly if you want to drum up business. Now, that's just sales. Of course, as I said, if you're not hammering your offers to watchers, you're really missing out. I hammer those all the time. Every day I sell stuff through offers to watchers, every single day of my life. And multiple times usually, especially if I send them out multiple times, I usually sell stuff multiple times. I still can't say that it's going to be a super bad Christmas for everybody. I know the financial situation. I know a lot of people are unemployed. So it comes down to what you sell would be my bottom line on that. If you sell stuff to people who have expendable income to begin with, they're not going to be as hurt by something going on as other people. A lot of the people that I sell to are people that are retired, or the job isn't an issue, or the money isn't an issue. It's stuff that they really don't need. Most of what I sell is stuff that no one really needs. So, you know, and it's still selling. It's still selling at a regular interval. I'm not having, you know, dips, dives, or anything like that to complain about. And again, I've talked to people who sell clothing, and there is some clothing issues. Most of the retailers or sellers that I know that are doing, you know, reselling clothing have been running sales like mad and trying to jockey around with SEO and keywords and stuff like that, trying to get the best of it. That category, I think clothing, shoes are going to be probably drugged down with all the sales. If you sell clothing, I'll get to the questions in just a minute. I see Bob's got a few questions and comments in there. And it looks like Dom's in the house too. Dom's in that video if you didn't notice, but again, you can go back and watch it. But clothing-wise, I've been watching, and you know, I have a Hollister account and a couple other accounts online, and I've been watching the sales that everybody's doing. And we check on, you know, local places, brick and mortar, Amazon pricing, you know, specific clothing sites and things like that, where they're running on clothing. And there's discounts on almost probably on every one I've seen. So that's the part that I worry about for those who don't have access to different things. Branching out is always the best, and having as much stuff up as you can for Christmas is always the best. I don't want to say it's going to be a dire for everybody, but there is a chance that, you know, a certain percentage of the country may be upset after the start of November, and, you know, money-wise, people will be worried about what's going on, where the economy's going, you know, things like that. So just FYI, just be prepared and do whatever you can to keep the money coming in, keep listing decent items, keep going through your store. Don't buy something if you don't have to. Again, the sky's not falling. There's nothing in my book as of yet to totally worry about. Well, that sounds weird, but yeah, there's stuff to worry about. But business-wise is still rolling along, depending, again, on what you're selling. So if you're not selling super, super good items, you're not going to have a super, super good season in my book. And most people, it's not their fault, at least the ones that are digging in. You just can't get out. There's not as much stuff available this year. This year's probably been, for regular everyday stuff, thrift stores, garage sales, around here anyway. Again, I can't speak for anywhere else. I can just speak for what I've personally seen. It's been slim to almost nil for picking on most anything. I've been into 2 thrift stores in the last, say, month and a half or so, and that's about it. Mask, the whole works, and very cautious. There was something specific I was there for to help somebody, so I didn't see any movement. I didn't see anything good. Garage sales around here, I've driven by a few. I haven't got out of the car, but, you know, nothing looked spectacular. There wasn't people driving around like there always would be in the past. So, Craigslist is dead around here. Auctions are doing fairly well because most of the merchandise that wouldn't go to the garage sales is now going to the auctions. So those who aren't hitting the auctions and not finding, goods, I think your auctions were your best bet, for the last few months and even into this month. Obviously, prices are now going up. I said that would happen, and that's literally what's happening now, as less and less of any other secondary markets to buy merchandise is dried up. The local auction prices have gone up. More and more people are starting to show back up. It's going into winter for those who can't find any local work, construction, or whatever. They're going to be moving in indoor activities and have to figure something else out. So the auction prices are going up, and that happens every year up in the north if you're unaware of that. That's why I say I always buy in the summertime when things are cheaper. When they're cheap, you buy them cheap, and then you sell them when it's high season, when they're up high. It's just, economic basics. Let's hop over here. Mr. Hale, hey Bob, how are you doing? 10 minutes early and patiently waiting. I am sorry, I thought I saw a super chat, and I don't think a Cosmic Thrifter. Well, thank you very kindly. Well, thank you. I like doing stuff like that. I've always been into that. As a kid, I used to do 8mm movies with friends and stuff. I mean, like 30, 40-minute ones, and we'd project them at the church I went to. We did it in Boy Scouts, too. We even got kicked out of a camp for doing the movies. But anyway, I've always been into that stuff. I've got, Harry Hauser, the stop motion guy. I've got Sam Winston's book upstairs. I've got the ILM book. I used to work at Disney, so I got to play with all that kind of stuff that made the real movies, and I love that kind of thing. The technique. I'm not a Hollywood person, but hey, Penny, how are you doing this evening? Bob, Playboys look good, but torn cover spleens and taped spline on one side, so not as good as I thought. Yeah, I wouldn't grade those, Bob. Definitely not at that point. If there's tape on them, it's not even really worth it, unless it was like the first issue or Marilyn Monroe was on the cover. Those would be my only ones that I would probably grade either way, just to be safe. Even in lesser conditions, someone would still be interested. You just don't have to have it slabbed if you want. They won't slab it, so somebody can actually check the inside out if they want it to. You can have a letter. You don't have to have everything slabbed. I know everybody thinks that's all it's done, but you can request it however you want. We've sent enough in to know. Hey, Daryl, Carolina Picks in the house. Good evening. Mia C. Crestwell, good evening as well. And Dom, as I said, Dom is in there. You can see the credits at the end. Hey, Rob, how are you doing this evening? Rob from New York. Oh, hang on, my feed is going a little slow today. Again, I'm still working on moving things around here. This week's been very hectic for us. I've been traveling a little bit, trying to take care of some purchases that we've been pending on. So I've had to drive down to Columbus, which is over 3 hours one way. Almost had to do it again this weekend, but I'm putting it off because of the other person's issues till next week. So Amazon Seller 99, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in the house too. Kenna Matthews, how are you doing? Another one from Australia. Usually I have got quite a few in the house from Australia. Tara S, how are you doing? Yeah, no one ever gets that phone there. What I wanted to do for stuff like that, I didn't want to put any graphic images or anything in it and keep it wholesome. So anyway, I didn't want to put anything too graphic. Spam. I found what looks Shazam Stickle. I found what looks to be a Dresden ornament. Were they ever marked? Most of them weren't marked. Very rarely do I ever find anything Dresden marked. It's just the construction. Now, there's reproductions of them too, so you just have to make sure you are not listing a reproduction as an original. Usually the gilt, the gold color gives it away. I've never seen one not worn or where some of the seam, if it's a three-dimensional piece, wasn't separated. It just depends on what it is, of course. Some of them are three-dimensional, which are two pieces of basically paper, pressed paper, one on one side and one on the other, forming a three-dimensional object, and sometimes they're just flat, embossed. I literally show how to make some of those, which is basically the same basic thing. Good evening, Tara. Wendy D. right below. Cornfed 420, how are you doing this evening? Robert Ramos. Gail, good evening as well. Are you a collector? Thank you. Dan Matthews, again, thank you. Howdy, Anthony Thomas. What a joker. Yeah, I just wish we could go somewhere with costumes. I wanted to go to Detroit's The Maker Faire and the Comic-Con in Detroit and just kind of check it out. But, you know, this year's pretty much a wash for everything. I'm big into that kind of stuff. Usually we make the costumes, but this year I did buy it just time-wise. I had somebody tailor it to me. Pop on down. And again, thank you, Cosmic Thrifter. Thank you very kindly. Unicorns don't lie. Well, greetings as well. Thank you, Mr. Hale. Hey, Annie, how are you doing this evening? And I got Aaron right down below as well. Beth picking GA Peaches, good evening. I spent some time in Georgia, and we did buy a bushel of peaches and brought them back from there when I was there. Valdosta, I think we stopped quite a bit. I stayed in Glenburn, and I know relatives and stuff in Detroit, or not Detroit, in Atlanta. So I do get to Atlanta. Usually whenever I fly, we usually end up in the hub in Atlanta either, too. Chandra, well, welcome for your first show. Hopefully you enjoy it. I'll be retro. Welcome as well. Bill from the UK, well, welcome from overseas. And Eduardo from another part of the country as well. Just type in, Eduardo, just type in Instagram. And once you're on Instagram, just type in the Auction Professor, and that's how you get to it. It's a free app. There are some stipulations on where you can be. I believe legally wise, it's only the U.S. and Canada that I'm legally allowed to offer the prize to. All of the conditions and rules are posted in this video in the description. They're also posted on the actual video trailer that we showed you, and they will be posted again in the on the final actual live show video. Again, it's a full box, over $500, I would say, crammed of collectibles and vintage out of my personal inventory. Not junk. This is stuff that I would filter and sell through just like anything else you see. So it's decent stuff, I promise you. You'll be very, very, very happy with it. Again, right before Christmas, you'll still have almost 8 weeks if you send me your dress to winner right away. So, you know, almost 8 weeks to the end of the year. And vintage collectibles sell in first quarter for the first 2 months very, very well. Probably about as good as fourth quarter as well. So just FYI. That's my take on it. I've never had an issue. I don't have a drop in sales. A lot of people are indoors and stuff. Again, I'm selling vintage items, so it's usually a different crowd than usually buys like domestic goods and stuff like that. So anyway, you can drop me a line, Eduardo, too, if you're curious. I can give you like a link or something. Thank you, LB Retro. Thank you very kindly. Hey, Kathy, how are you doing? Yeah, it's the sales. I've heard that from quite a few people. That's why I wanted to address it. I honestly would expect this. And if you look back last year and the year before that and the year before that, there's a little dip right around the end of October in through the first week of November. It's a fact. It happens pretty much every year. That's why I say if you keep track of your year by year, you can look at year over last. You already know when it's going to be slow. You're not going to panic because you know what's going on ahead of time. Hence, I put stuff on sale just a couple days, I think it was yesterday, the day before. I put stuff back on sale. I let the sales expire for 4 or 5 days. I rolled it back out again. So it's on sale these last week or two here where we could have a dip, and that would correct it. I already know it's going to happen. I can, look at the calendar and just go from there. Again, if you can look at 10 years of data on a spreadsheet that shows every end of October the same thing happens, you don't have to worry. You can get stuff done ahead of time. You can, plan on sales. You can plan on events to do a correction for that if there's an issue with it. Again, it depends on what you're selling to some extent. But you can always run the sale. Once I run the sale, what happens, as I showed in a video not too long ago, I had a bunch more offers to watchers I could send out, a whole mess of them. And that's why I say my sales are not hurting. when I do those same things. I'll run sales markdown, and then I'll also, once that markdown hits, goes live, my watchers go up immediately to, sometimes 4 and 5 times, sometimes even more than that, what they were the day before. And then I can send out a whole bunch of watchers or offers to watchers right after, the very next day that I start a sales. Again, I have a price structure. I can afford to do that. If you're pricing right at what you expect to get out of it, you can't do any of this. So that's why I'm in very specific categories, and, I pay attention to what I need to do. I do projections. I know where my sales are as the whole month progresses, day after day after day. If I'm going down or I'm angling down. Again, I don't maybe do sales like everybody else because I got money coming in from different sources, so I look at the overall company-wide totals, not necessarily eBay or something. But I always know enough, when it's slow. So don't panic if it's slow a little bit for a week or two. That's typical from what I've seen personally. It's going to pick up. You're going into the best time of the year to sell. So again, don't lose faith. As long as your items are decent. If it's a little slower, spend that extra time you have from not rushing or doing packing or whatever you're doing to hammer your keywords. Hammer the keywords. Go back in and check your comps if you had the stuff up for a month or two, couple months. Any free time. That's what I do when I got free time. I'll sit down and grab a laptop and just check something out. I'll randomly look at stuff or look at my page and just pick page 30 or 40 or some random page number in the hub under my items page. And just go from there. I mean, that's what I always do, and I always recommend that. Let me slide down a moment here. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing this evening? It is worth it, Penny. There is videos on YouTube. Literally, there's an option. Well, I don't want to open up my thing right here, right this moment, but there's literally an option. Maybe I can. I'm not the best on doing it either, so I may not be the best person to even tell you. Yeah, I think you can just... In fact, maybe I'll post a little how-to video. I'll find a how-to video and just post a video if anybody's curious. I'll post it underneath all of the videos for the contest is what I'll do, I think. Just so, in case anybody has a question on it. I do it fairly regularly. I mean, once a month maybe at best. So I'm not a pro on any of that. But Steve Elmore, how are you doing this evening? Yeah, Instagram's okay. I'm not a big social network person, but I like Instagram better than I like Facebook. It's easier for me to navigate, and it's easier to pop around and everything else. I know they're basically the same thing, but I'm not a big fan of Facebook. It seems to be a cesspool from either side of the spectrum these days, and it's just not my thing anymore. Too many angry people on both sides, and it's just not productive for mentality in my book. I just stay away from all that stuff. I'm not a fan of that. But Instagram in my book, I can just look at a video or check out a picture or something and I'm done. I don't have to get in, read a bunch of stuff or have all the nasties come out and stuff. So anyway, that I figured would be the easiest way. Just pop it on Instagram. It's going to be worth your time. It'll take you a minute or two to set up an Instagram and do the activities. Literally a couple minutes. If you want $500 worth of inventory, it's well worth your time. I promise you that would be the case. Money for Mars, how are you doing this evening? Auction competition is ridiculous right now. Strictly anything, Kathy. It depends on what you're selling. As I said, switching to auctions, when I, like a month or so ago, I was talking about that. Maybe it was 6 weeks ago even. We switched over to doing some auctions like 2 months ago or somewhere in that range because a lot of people weren't doing them and people were home, so they had more time to... as an activity. Auctions used to be the fun thing to do. Nowadays, it's just turned into buying, and that's it. Who cares about the auction? But right now, auctions are back again, so it seems everybody is started to jump on the bandwagon. I run auctions basically to blow out inventory most of the time, and it does work. I constantly do it, and I actually just talked about that as well. I just run enough to eat up my free auctions. That's all I do. I don't pay for anything like that. But they do work. Right just today, it tells you when you got bids. You can have a notice when you have bids. I got 18 bids on some items just in today's time frame that end today. And they're, $10 a piece items. I already had like 20 some odd bids, so I ran it for 10 days. This is the end of the 10 days tonight. Tomorrow morning I'll have all those sales. $10 a piece. You're talking almost $400 with the sales from running the auctions and stuff that's been sitting in my store. I don't have any effort into it. It's already been listed. I've already got my money back out of it. So, I picked a price that was comfortable and I rolled out with that. You're not going to make a fortune. What I see going is I'm able to sell a decent amount of inventory that I'm fine price-wise. I would accept the price I'm listing at if I had an offer at that. That's what I look at. I'm not going to go below what I wouldn't accept as an offer. That's my starting bid. If somebody buys it, I'm fine. And again, I usually do auctions with stuff that's been up for years. The images that are selling tonight and some that I think have already sold today have been up since 2017. And again, I'm not worried about that at all. Even with the past when I had to pay a fee. Now it's not costing me a dime, so who really cares? But you sell enough of them. So let's say I've got 1,000 images. I'm up back when eBay was charging what they were just a few months ago. I'd pay a couple $100 extra for so many extra listings, and then I'd have to sell so many. And we were selling like 10 times what it cost me to list those items every single month. So it doesn't hurt to run items if you are able to play the math and the numbers are working for you. I'm not saying everybody run a bunch of items and you're going to be great, but it's taken us a long time to get to a point where I feel that I totally grasp and got the flow of what to do, when to do it, price that works, where to roll it out, keywords and all that stuff. Again, I'm nothing special. Anything that I can do, anybody else out there can do it. I've just done it for like 20 plus years. So if you can't get good enough to figure it out after 20 years, you're in the wrong business. I totally get criticized all the time, including somebody I just blocked just before the show started. I hear it once in a while. I'm condescending and arrogant because I'm just stating factual information. And, I delete it. I don't really care what they say anymore at all. But it's if I can't say what's going on, I mean, I don't know how that's being condescending and arrogant. I guess people just are just upset they're not doing good. I don't know. Don't really matter, but let's see here. I need a teenager to show me how. Yeah, I still mess up. I chat back and forth mostly with text with Dom and stuff. And Instagram, Dom's usually the one I go to and ask on stuff like that. He usually knows how to do all that. I don't understand. Kathy's sales tanked me, and I'm killing it. Similar items. Again, it depends, I guess, where you're at and all that kind of thing too. But I can't. There's no rhyme or reason some days, I guess. Gotta hit my son up for instructions. Spooky background. I thought it was more seasonal. Halloween's all out here on us. It's a couple days to go. And rolling from there. I think it's because you're more established with a captive following for that stuff. And he's talking about Duncan. Duncan sells a lot of stamps and stuff like that. I hear people say that I only sell certain items, or you're doing so well with the store because of your YouTube channel and all that stuff. I don't show my stuff except when it sells on here. I'm not marketing my stuff on here. I do think to some extent your following rolls your sales through because the same people buy from us, and I always give them super good service. I mean, if they pay before 11, even on that same morning, their stuff's already going out that day. Once you get somebody and you can lock them in, you can grow your business from there. But if you got the right items, the right keywords, you should do okay if you're, again, selling in certain niches, of course. Sandra Bentley, how are you doing? And thank you very kindly. Well, thank you very kindly, Sandra. I did put a warning in there just in case, because I know there's some folks who watch the show with their kids, younger kids in the 10, 11 range. Again, that's up to those. The show is for an adult, but anyway, I still put a warning on there. Thank you very kindly, though, for the super chat, Sandra. I wanted to do something special. As I said, we've hit the 25,000. I've hit 25,000 subscribers. I'm almost 26,000 subscribers. We're over 3 million, 3.2 million views. So I haven't done any real big one. Again, this is I've got money into this stuff. It's good stuff. You're going to get $500 plus. And the secondary prize will be a second drawing for original artwork from a production postcard that's totally sold out at this point. So anyway, those are the prizes. Next week I'll be probably show them. As I said, I do have a video of what's in the box. So I think you'll be surprised. Whoever gets it's going to be very happy. Hopefully the winner will post a picture for everybody else to see as well. Hang on here. Let me pop down just a second. Harryhausen, yeah, Ray Harryhausen, that's the name, is a legend. Seventh Voyage of Sinbad was like one of my favorite movies when I was like 7 and 8. I saw it on TV and I was just blown away by the fighting skeleton scene in there. And it's reminiscent of the 80s Clash of the Titans, literally. It's very similar. It's all stop motion animation, which I've done some on an 8mm camera. I never asked my parents. I just took apart the family 8mm and figured out how I could alter it to click a frame at a time. I used a nail that I figured out how to... I drilled a hole in it, basically. But anyway. Let's slide on down here. Imagine if Joker was in the Texas tape gun match. Yeah, Dom has a pretty good video, too. I watched that the other morning while I was packing up. Again, you should all know Dom if I haven't said it yet today. Dom's one of the friends of the channel here. He was gracious enough to volunteer a little bit of his time and to get dressed up with a sports jacket and a tie. So anyway, I'm thankful for Dom for helping out on that, too. He did some voices in there. If you pay attention, you'll hear him in there several times. Besides that, the only other voices in there besides my own, just FYI. But check his channel out if you haven't been to Primetime Treasure Hunter. It's one of the few that I religiously watch. There's a large chunk of YouTubers on eBay and stuff that I won't watch. They've said some things and stuff, and I don't care to watch. Some of the advice is just trying to market their services to you. Daryl, I'd love to enter, but I don't have a clue on how to share a link on Instagram. Maybe I'll pop one up in Patreon for you, Daryl. Just a quick, like a 40-second video on how to do it. Hey, Matt, how are you doing this evening? Yeah, I think I saw something you posted somewhere. You were picking up a big lot. Trade cards sell extremely well in fourth quarter and first quarter because a lot of retirees are stuck inside, and that's what happens. My sales go up drastically in some areas like vintage paper during the winter months. Again, because a lot of older folks, retirees and things like that, people who aren't worried about the money, who are buying it, and they have more free time. There's not all the outside activities and things like that. So I do have an increase. Again, I don't have really a slow time, but I do have a steady increase in several, that niche, especially niche. Again, right now we're listing those type of things. I know for sure that the first shift somebody listed 60 in a couple hours, 60 items, and I had 3 offers on those items they just listed today. And I've got somebody listing actually right this very second, and somebody else working right now. My son's working upstairs too. Let me pop down. I just watched your Joker video. It was awesome. Well, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Hey, Charles. How's Mr. Lowe doing this evening? VirGM. I'm not familiar to open an eBay to sell my items. I have lots of Madame Alexander dolls, Barbies, children's books. I would read up on the site itself. There are videos on how to set up a eBay site and to sell as well. Hey, Jackass Retro. How are you doing this evening? Ships ahoy there to you. Shazam Stickle. Here's Michelle talking about sales. My sales are bad, so I list 100 items a day for 3 days. Now sales are awesome. I sell them free mostly. If it's bad, I try to just use that time to list for the next great. That's exactly the point. If you're not having sales and you've got the time, I always pop up to go from there. Well, Tessa, thank you very kindly for the super chat. Love the little emoji there. Thank you very kindly for the $9.99 super chat. Caldarella. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Thank you again. I do honestly and sincerely appreciate that. I do honestly try to answer and to give you the best information that I can. And again, I don't just say that. That's honestly how I feel. That's why I talk so much, because I try to give you every little aspect I can of the issue at hand. I know it's not great sometimes for getting to everybody, but... Well, I missed Kathy's Aussie. Again, Kathy is from Australia. And what is it? It's like morning there, I think. Pizza time? Is that what Duncan's usually talking about? Hang on just a second. I have to pop on down. Beth picking GA peaches. You were in my backyard. Then I'm sure you're talking about Glenburn or Valdosta, somewhere in that range. I've always done extremely well sourcing in Georgia, just in general. Those types of places, I think, are the best places to source. The ones that have the small town, out of the way, tiny little dink store setting in an old downtown row of buildings from like 1910, 1920, like what you'd see in the Postcard. I don't think I've ever went to an old... When we were in Mississippi, Alabama area, Montgomery, anywhere around there, man, any of those little towns I'd go through in between there, we'd stop at all those little dink places. Those were where I always got... Because those folks weren't up on all the trends, and they weren't big into eBay, and records were just junk to them, and postcards were nothing. We were in Selma. We had just drawn... Coming back, you got to go over to Selma Bridge. We were just going over there. If anybody knows that area well, there's a strip of buildings. We would go to the left, but when you're coming across the bridge, you're heading, what direction would that be? When you're heading west off the bridge, to the right's a row of downtown buildings there, and there's 2 or 3 little tiny shops in there that didn't look like anything, but when we got in there, man, we filled up enough boxes to have to ship stuff back that time. The little small towns are always the best. Wiggins. There's a Wiggins in Mississippi we did very well. There's even a little tiny stores there were in Collins, Mississippi, which isn't a big town. Mendenhall. There was even a good one in Mendenhall where I got gold quite regularly at. I mean, the little town ones are always the best. I just can't speak enough for those little town, little thrift stores or little mom and pa secondhand selling local neighbors stuff for them and stuff like those are always the best. And usually they're nice folks. You can... ask them, do you got this? Do you have that? Do you have any more at home? And they're gracious enough to bring it all in for you. Eastern Standard Time, Ellen, for next Thursday show. Same time as this one started today. To Little Five Corners. I don't know if I know Little Five Corners. There's a Five Corners here in my area. I know the movie you're talking. I know the area in general, but I don't know much about Little Five Corners. I think what's that movie? Gangs of New York. I think talks about the Five Corners area. And I did read something because I thought that was a fictitious story, but was surprised. There's a book actually on that. I think that's from the book, the movie. I read part of the book. Brisbane. Hang on, I'm just popping down here to see where we're at. Well, if you got a Miami house and residence, I guess that would qualify you for a U.S. citizen, but it only can be sent to someone in the U.S. from what I understand. So if you've got a U.S. residence, I guess that would legally be allowed too. Hang on just a second, just popping down a little more here. The feed's running a little slow, but not terribly tonight. I do need to move these laptops so I'm not reaching. I hate looking to the side on the show. It's annoying to me anyway. I was born in Athens, Georgia, so I'm very familiar with the area. I've been through Athens too. Popping down. Free time, there's no such thing as free time. There's family time and there's business time. Those are the two times that I have. And I work around those two times. If family needs something, that always is first, obviously, and then whatever time's left over, I'm going off with that. Jinx, my little white Chihuahua, was sick last couple days, so I did spend the evening with her last night. She whines if Dad's not around, like, constantly. She's a people person. She sleeps with one of the kids usually. My Instagram is filled with puppies and stamps. Nothing wrong with puppies and stamps, Kathy. Pamela's Procurements, Wisconsin. I go to Wisconsin occasionally. I'm not too far off. I quit Facebook years ago. Too much with me too. It's a cesspool, it seems like these days. Misinformation from every side of the gambit in my book. The last auction I went to had tons of paper collectibles. I had a great day. Good to hear that, Matt. Pamela's Procurements, well, thank you very kindly. That's a green screen. Yeah, I was going to say, I use blue screen, green screen, red screen. I got 4 different colors of screens I use. The Joker is a blue screen. I actually left the blue silhouette around it because it matches the lighting, so it worked out perfect for that one, but... Again, if you didn't see it, I've already posted it on its own, so you don't have to watch the show. If you'd like to see the Joker intro for the $500 giveaway with all the rules posted underneath that video as well as this video as well. And you'll see it. We'll be talking about it throughout the week until then. The deadline to enter is the next Wednesday evening at 11:59 p.m. You have to enter by Wednesday evening by 11:59 p.m. So I have time to generate everybody's name, cut them all out, and get them all ready so we can do a random drawing live on the show. So I figured there might be a few. It's a high prize. It's good stuff. It's inventory that you will be happy with. I guarantee it. There's going to be some buttons going back to the 1850s. There's going to be some good paper 1870s. There's postcards, stills, all kinds of stuff in there. It's going to be a care package. One of the items in there alone will sell for $80 right after you list it. So I think you'll be very, very happy with it. Joe Laley. Florida is a hotbed for sourcing. I have been able to get merchandise to sell with ease. People are dumping stuff like crazy. I've even seen eBay sellers dumping all their stuff, especially on FB Marketplace. Yeah, I always did very well in Florida. I used to set up at flea markets. I was a Webster dealer even before. I even set up at the St. Cloud one I think it's on the other end of, or it used to be on the far end of 192, right near the Turnpike, I believe, entrance, the toll road over there. Yeah, and I've been buying some from people going under too. I'm not trying to milk somebody going under, but they're selling it, so they're happy to take the money from everything, Yeah, I think we just need to delete a few of these people and get them off the channel. Yeah, it looks like we got a bunch of them tonight. This is the first time I've been in a live chat on this channel. Well, hopefully you enjoy it. Nitron. Yeah, I don't know who's trolling today, but stuff happens. Let me get past all the junk and idiots in here. If you're over your maximum listing, I would imagine, each auction costs you $3.30. Wow, that is insane. Yeah, let me just report a few of these. Yeah, I go back in too when I get these bombs. I report every single name. One of the kids will do it for me. Just FYI. It's steadily annoying. Yeah, don't pay any attention to those folks, anybody in here. Some people are always going to hate. It's people who don't even watch the channel. Hang on just a second. Let me get past this. And thank you, Annie. It looks like Annie's caught most of them. Again, that's before I even got down to this point. Girl Hustle, welcome. Anyone having issues with shipping on managed payments not being on the shipping method chosen in the listing? I've seen it once, and that was it. And it was just and the only reason it was on one of my listings, it was a combined one. And I only have one option on any of my listings, so it reverted to a priority. It went over. This is what happened. This is why it happened on mine. It went over. It was a combined order, and what happened was my preferred method of shipping on the combined order couldn't go to that method because it was like 22 ounces once all the items were combined. So it couldn't use my method, so it used the next available method. I don't know if that's for everybody's case, but the only reason it did change the method after I looked at it was the weight of the item once it was combined. It combined the total weight of all of the items the person purchased. So all I had to go back in was to change the weight, and it dropped it right back to the correct spot where it should be. Again, there might be some other issue like that, so just be careful. Somebody else had pointed one out too, and it was a dimensional issue they had wrong when it went to actually charge them. So it wouldn't allow them to ship it because the dimensions were over whatever the dimension requirements were, and it was a typo. As soon as they fixed the dimension, the right one popped up again. So there may be some other things going on. I don't know every specifics on everybody else's, but yeah, if you haven't hit the like button, pop the like button down there. We've got 140 some odd people in the house, and almost 59 likes right now. How to pay for shipping? Yeah, I think he's talking about where it changes the shipping method. So if you're not paying attention, maybe you build them for first class, and it's showing up as a priority shipping. So if you don't pay attention, you're paying for priority shipping even though they only paid for first class shipping. Yeah, I haven't, I saw it once because of another issue, so. Yeah, and I check every one down the list as I do it. I ship in bulk, and I just check every one, make sure it's all green, make sure, the fees match the column. If you ship in bulk on the left side, you can see how much they paid, and just compare it on the right side where the actual prices you're going to pay is. I just scan through it every time. Jason and the Argonauts. Yep, that was a good one. And thank you, Nancy, as well. Hang on here. Eduardo, I see you talking about the free listings. Yes, I think I even said something to you possibly about that in your response in Patreon. If you switch the category and you're doing item specifics and things like that, eBay might not show your items. You may be the person that only gets 20% of your views if you switch out of a toy-related category. Like Weebles. I buy Weebles for the wife and stuff. We've got a huge collection. I talked to the guy who wrote the price guide. We're actually probably going to have some interview in the next update on the price guide for the Weebles. But with the Weebles, if I'm not paying attention, it strictly guides me to the toy-only category. So if I was looking for a Weeble in not toys, and I don't know that they do that, I'll never know that somebody puts them in collectibles as well. 20% of some of the listings, in like Weebles, for example, isn't in the toy section. So if I only trust eBay to guide me to where I'm supposed to find the items that I want to find, I'm losing 20%. 1 out of 5 of my potential things that I could buy isn't shown to me by the way eBay's doing it. I would not move your items from a category out of toys. I hate to say that. I know it's a money issue. I fully believe it's because of NOS items and the way the NOS categories go. Most any category that they have the freebies is something that's usually not an NOS category. something that can be wholesale. They're one-off categories usually. I know used toys, I think, should be an exception. I think they should, again, if they're going to force item specifics, they should be able to change it so that you have, a specific version for used toys versus new toys. So you can separate those doing NOS versus, those just selling collectibles. Like Eduardo sells like replacement pieces for toys. I've looked through his stuff. He's got a huge store. He's got a huge warehouse even too. Yeah, I would be worried moving it away, and I only say that because of how eBay forces the search results. They force it into a category, as I said, and I showed it in the video. It literally will lock you out. So if you're in the category, like if you were doing Weebles and you listed them in collectibles, if I didn't change all of eBay's setup on there and constantly remove it and go back to all listings, I would always be missing your items, all of them, because again, it only centers in on toys. So like if you're doing G.I. Joe, I will bet you $1,000,000 that their search criteria is going to go to the toy section G.I. Joes. So if I type in, I want a G.I. Joe gun, you've got a replacement gun in your store, and I type in G.I. Joe gun 1984, whatever year, whatever set it came from, it's going to go to G.I. Joe toys. And I won't see your items. So again, you'd be in the 20% that's not being shown to, who knows, maybe 40%, maybe 75% of people looking may not see your items because they're not changing the search results from toys to everything. And there's no way to permanently do it. They turned that off. It was off for like a week where it wasn't doing that. It would just show all the listings for the toy items that we were looking for in Weebles, and now it's back on again. I thought maybe they went back and realized the stupidity of what they're doing. Just like the item specifics. There's a lot of those that are pointless, but to me, I can just go in and bulk do them if I have to add them in. And I don't, for those in Patreon, the live show yesterday, I played part of a voicemail from eBay. Again, they left it on my voicemail, so they can't complain about me broadcasting it on there. They're being recorded, and they know they were recorded. So I did play that for Patreons, and I've been getting those calls constantly just about my recommended item specifics. And it's ridiculous to get calls on ones that aren't required, and it's ridiculous that you get them day after day on several accounts if you've got several accounts. So yeah, it's a waste of time, but I ignore anyone these days that are recommended. eBay recommends a lot of stuff for reasons that are not important, like having to put whether a postcard is used or not used. Nobody cares if they're buying for a postcard. If they want a specific image, they're looking at the front of the card, and as long as the card's in good condition, it doesn't matter if it's used or unused. A person's going to have to, if they force them into one category or the other, the person's going to have to look through twice as much. He's going to have to look through 2 different categories to find the same results. So no one's going to use some of their item specifics. A lot of the times, and I can say this after talking to eBay execs and spending hours all combined talking to like head of seller services and seller support and head of several departments and things like that, including a long video chat, an hour and a half talking to those folks with eBay. A lot of the stuff they don't have a clue on, like IT issues and things like that, just in general. Somebody had a question, and I think it was on Patreon, talking about, and I'll just shoot this one out here, and I'm not going to call it another channel. Another channel was mentioned. I state, and I'll stand by this, that you basically only need 2 images for your listings. And some other channels, I'm not trying to call any names. It's a channel I wouldn't watch, and they've said some stuff that I will stay away from them. But the point of it is, though, that they say 4, and that supposedly comes from eBay's technical department. I can tell you right now from talking and asking head of seller support, head of seller services, face-to-face on a video conference call, you can't talk to anybody from IT. They've all signed in a non-disclosure agreement, a major one. eBay's biggest asset and eBay's biggest secret on this globe is their algorithm for their search results. They protect that without doubt. I was told word for word, you don't talk to those people, not in a mean way, but no, I couldn't talk to anybody who does IT. And anybody speaking on behalf of eBay, again, this is any company. This is any company. I'm not trying to single out eBay or anything, but this is any big billion-dollar company. Anybody speaking out has signed an NDA as well, non-disclosure agreement, and anything they're stating is something that they were authorized to state. So with how many images I do with 2 images. Anybody talking about stamps, Kathy, Duncan, most people are going to do 2 images for any of those. It's completely and utterly pointless for them to do more than 2 images for anything. It's pointless. I don't do 2 images for even postcards. I do 2 scans. I'll upload the same image twice to do a zoom in, and then so there's only 2 images usually on most of my listings. Some of them only have a front and a back, like coins in the past and stuff. Now, talking to somebody from IT, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I sat in with people talking about a technical issue and no one in the room at eBay, and we're talking there was 4 people, maybe 5, I don't know who else was listening in, that were there. They were all heads of departments, and not a single one had an IT degree or knew the very basic stuff you would learn in a first-year, first-session class. So the people who run these departments are the ones who speak. They are not the people who do the work and know how it works. So I can say, too, from what we got from when eBay lost all of our images a year or 2 ago in June, we know somewhat how eBay structure works. If you haven't watched the channel, again, this isn't a brag. I have an IT degree in database design and construction as well as networking. Database and design is what eBay is. I know how a system works. We had to set them up to graduate. I understand the philosophy. I had to do search results and queues and injections into the system and things like that, so I understand how it works. For with the losing of the pictures, eBay only keeps one picture tied to the main frame of your listing. Your title, your image, and the price are stuck together. So even when all the images were gone, you still had a basic image. You couldn't zoom in. It wasn't a visible image, but it was still visible to any customer. All the other ones were gone from your listing. So you only had one single image for it. And it happened because eBay stores your photos on a separate server. So the link was broken between them. The point where a logarithm or a result is going to be able to track when you're having more images than just one pulled is when they're pulling them over to the search results. So when they were gone, we know for sure that they store them somewhere else and it's blocking the search results. So that's the bridge where if I was writing code, I would write a code to track whether there was more than one image. It makes no sense to go over that. It also makes no sense to set every listing up that way because, again, it would be pointless to penalize every single person selling stamps mostly or every single person selling postcards. We're talking 85-90% of people in postcards, stamps, coins would only show a front and a back. And a lot of stamp people will only show a front on some items if they're just standardized items. So, again, eBay's not going to spend hours upon hours having somebody code one search result criteria versus another one. It's a site-wide result across the board. So there's nothing that I've ever talked to or proven or anything else that would say more than 2 is going to do you anything else extra. eBay used to, and I've been on eBay for over 20 years, eBay used to recommend 4 or 5 images for every single listing. Recommend doesn't mean it's an IT specific thing that would steer an algorithm. I don't care what eBay says on a lot of that stuff because they're trying to get us to do recommended for things that are just pointless. Unless they're required, I'm not going to do them. It's a waste of my time. Nobody's going to use those results if I had to go back in there and do it. If I do have to go in and do it, it's getting NA all across the board on used or not used on the postcards because it makes no sense to do it any other way. So, again, I don't see any need to do more than 2 images for 90% of what we list. That's just a piece of paper or a 2-sided object. It's pointless. There's no difference in sales. And I can also say that I went into this exact issue with eBay, including head of seller support and seller services, on that conference call because I brought up the issue of the missing photos. I also discussed IT issues and tried to get an answer. I even tried to discuss issues and try to talk to at least figure out some basics. Again, not a logarithm, just why they're saying that this doesn't happen that way or does happen. And the issue that I was discussing with them was ad blocker and things like that. Again, Nobody technical came out to talk to me, even though that was what the conversation was supposed to be. It was all propaganda. So again, unless somebody has a title that says IT and they've been given permission to say something, you're never going to hear anybody from an IT person other than a head of a department. I don't care who you're talking to. They don't put out the guy who knows how it works out on TV for any company. They put out the guy running it who doesn't do the day-to-day operations. It's like restaurant managers. Anybody who's been in a restaurant like me, you'll run into some restaurants where the manager doesn't know how to do a thing to cook or do anything else like that. It's the same principle. The manager's trying to explain how the food's done, and he doesn't even know how to cook it. That's the same basic principle I see with eBay. And I looked up the people that I was talking to on oh shoot, what's the site? I looked up their profession on LinkedIn. I looked up what their degrees were, what they had. I did that before I sat in with them, and I asked them 150 different questions. I kept them on way longer than they wanted to because I felt if they're going to ask me out, they'd ask me to converse with the issue. They would address the questions I had. Of course, they didn't, and that was the end of that. But again, with that question, which was just brought up, I don't see, regardless, other than eBay saying it's recommended to do something, I don't see any drawing that eBay is going to put in a whole separate bit of code to try and figure out if you've got 4 photos, if you got 5 photos, if you got 10 photos. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense from a technical aspect. It makes no sense from a spending aspect, and it makes no sense, for the logarithm to judge somebody by 2 images or more than 2 images. It's not logical to ding somebody when there may not be a need or any way that you would even think about having the same image up there more than so many times. So just FYI on that one. I know that was a little long but let me pop down. Again, if you're enjoying it and you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. Got 152 people on my end right now, so we've got 78 likes on. Let me pop down and get some more questions. I have my little one trained to print up my shipping labels and caught a huge error when everything was on high-end pricing on media purchased. Oh. How do people make money when they are selling something for 99 cents with free shipping? They're like, if it's from China, they can still make a few cents in each one and sell quantity. But U.S., I don't get it at all either. eBay just sent around an email to us and probably a bunch of other stores saying, hey, run some 99-cent sales. You're going to get a bunch more stuff sold and blah, blah, blah. I would never, ever, ever, ever recommend doing a 99-cent sale on anything. I would never do it. It would just nothing that I would ever recommend doing. And if they sell for 99 cents, you're not making a dime. Let me slap down here. Sandra, I'm doing auctions too and doing well. Vintage religious lots and vintage dolls. Hadn't done auctions for ages before this. Yeah, I hadn't done them in a while. As I said, we blow stuff out, but I haven't put like a regular, constant auction like we have been. I usually have auctions running every day of the week these days. And again, it's a good, steady income, an extra $400 or $500 like 3 times a month. I run 10-day auctions, so every 10 days, that's about how much I have coming in, depending on what I'm having up and what sold the week before. If I eliminate some one week, I start off with 333. I list them 3 times. That's my 1,000 per store, and I don't have to pay for them. So if I sell 50 or 60 items in a day, I just pull and add a 50 or 60 more, and then just keep building it back up. Yeah, I see people do like doing 99-cent auctions. I personally, I stay away from them like the plague. Let's see here. Hey, Aaron, look me up when you get south. Gale Maker, I acquired a bunch of Spawn Monster, High, Winx, and anime figures. Does it make sense to list them as collectible? Most all of that I just list in toys, in all honesty. And I don't lot those up usually either, unless it's all from the same line of toys. I don't mix up Marvel and DC usually. And I don't mix up like Todd McFarlane's Spawn with like second... There's I think 2 or 3 series of Spawn figures, so... Like Monster High you could put together, Winx you could put together. Anime, if they're from a whole bunch of different ones, I would separate them by the anime character or the movie, show, whatever you're looking at. Well, thank you, Joe. Well, thank you very kindly, Joe. Dan Frisco, if you have slow sales and are running a promotion that you haven't changed in 1 to 2 months, and the promotion and start a new one, my store exploded with 9 sales overnight after I did this. Yeah, I just let them run. I mean, that's up to you. Again, I just let them run. I never go back in and mess with those. I've got so many stuff going on. Sometimes I might have 20 sales going on. I'll sort them down by category sometimes. Sometimes I'll do big bulk ones, but... Tara, I'm not sure if you're talking to me, but I've been to Denver, and we sourced in Denver on a trip when I was doing some HAZUP classes at the University of Colorado. Tessa, how can I figure out if the items I am selling are good or junk? Look them up in comp sales and see what they're selling for. That's the easiest way to figure it out. Toast Springs when I'm in Colorado Springs. I've been to Colorado Springs too. I've been to Golden, Colorado too. Einstein Brothers headquarters was there, and I used to go there quite often with regional vice presidents and East Coast distribution president. Yeah, see Bob's saying right there, 99-cent sales with free shipping are almost always exclusively from China. For a Chinese manufacturer of some items, if they sell it for 99 cents, it may cost them like 12 cents to ship up to like 22 cents. I looked it up once. It's the only reason I can say that. And we do buy from Alibaba some electronic items that are only available there. And I've talked to a couple of the businesses over there pretty extensively. They've been very, very nice. They've sent us samples and all kinds of things. And I realized that there is a way for them to make money at that, because if it's, say, 22 cents, eBay's fees are less. I think they still are 99-cent listings. They used to have like a lesser fee on those and a lesser listing. So you might have like a 35-cent profit at the end of the day, believe it or not, on something like that. The bags that, like the electronic pieces we order, come in are just poly bags that they're buying by, 10,000 quantity, 100,000 quantity maybe, and it might cost a quarter of a penny each to mail one of those out. So they can make 35 cents and sell 1,000 of them in a day. So for some of those folks, I guess maybe, but no one in this country is making a fortune off of those. Book Retro Bar in Australia, how are you doing this evening? Maria, well, thank you. I don't know what they said. I don't really care what they have to say. I'm just gonna go report them after the show, but other than that, I'm not gonna care about reading. They've already been blocked, any of those haters. Little one from Indiana. I get to Indiana once in a while. Well, thank you very kindly. Everything just takes time. That's all it takes. The old man's picks. Well, welcome, welcome. There's Carl from sunny Florida. Pre-selecting priority instead of the only option I allow, first class packaging. Yeah, again, I've only seen that, as I said, on that one single listing because it combined and the weight went over the 16 ounces for first class shipping. And it took me a minute to figure that out, but... Jack S. Retro, here he's talking about the shipping right here. Let's see where he's going. No, this is different. I think the problem is the shipping is reverting to whatever method you purchased last. That wouldn't be the case in me either, because I never ship priority mail, or almost never. It's almost 99% of what I ship goes out first class. Not 99, I'll probably say 70%. 20% is probably media, and then the rest would be something other than that. I ship in bulk too, so I don't know how it would determine that. This is definitely a glitch with eBay, or they are trying to force something. I wouldn't think they were trying to force something, but I think they just have some glitches going with how they set it all up. They're working some more options into there with UPS. when I started to hear the conversation about the shipping issues, the UPS was just coming into there, and it just showed up on my page too. As I said, we have a UPS account directly, but you can go through UPS here now. So, you know, either way you go. I really doubt they're trying to force it. I just think that would get them into some hot water. Because they're collecting, you would have a liable case against them possibly if it was intentional. Because again, they're charging them for one thing and then forcing you to pay more. And that would just be against any law, I would say. It's better to offer free shipping and just add up the price of the items. I never would do free shipping. It's all calculated. I don't pay for shipping. Every single person who buys from me pays for shipping. It's all calculated by the weight. I've never had an issue. That's not an issue to me. All I had to do was change the weight. The price collected was correct. So anyway, that's all I worry about. But all first class will revert to priority. Not me. It only happened the one time, as I said. So I have not seen that. I only have first class option listed on any of my listings, at least my paper listings and stuff like that. I'm sure some of them have priority, but I rarely, it's mostly records and stuff out of this store, or NOS, and they're going in the 4-pound or under lot on parcel. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not happening. It's not happening that way to me at all. So it's got to be some other glitch or something. Maybe it's even tied to the categories you're selling in, possibly. Shipping for my defaults to the most expensive now and managed payments. Again, it's not my case. I don't know. But I see enough people saying it. It's obviously happening. I want to say Dom did a video even on that, maybe. I've had my sales automatically go to priority mail. Cosmic Thrifter as well. The items are fine, no issues. Just eBay trying to sell me a priority mail label. Yeah, I see they're not going to get... I don't think eBay gets like a kickback out of it that I could imagine. Maybe they do, but I really doubt it. I can't imagine how much of a kickback they could get from something like that, because they're only getting the fee on what was collected, not what you're paying for. So again, I would say it's some kind of glitch that they're just not bright enough to fix. Daryl thinks he got it. As I said, the video is up. I just looked. The video is up on Instagram, so you can do it right now if you want, or anytime you want. But it's got to be done by Wednesday as well. So let me just verify. Yep. It's got views. Everything else is fine. So we should be good to go. Again, it's the video I just posted. You can see the Joker in that video. That's the one you have to share onto your page, and just tag it with those 3 tags. Prices have gone up through USPS for the rest of the year due to the pandemic. Yes, that is correct. Thanks, Daryl. Yes, hit the like button. Sandra, going to Webster, Florida on Monday. Some good stuff there. There are a lot of estate sales around. When we went to Webster's, if I didn't display up at Webster's, I literally was there like at 4:30 at the latest in the morning with a flashlight. When I set up, I was usually there by 4 in the morning to set up. But I go while they're setting up in the dark at Webster's when I was going there. Again, this was years ago. I haven't been there in years. But that was the best time. I've scored so much at Webster's back in the past. It wasn't even funny going there. Even setting up there, I did extremely well setting up there also. Let's pop on down here. Hey, Mike. How you doing, Mike? Hope you're doing well. Hope you still have your employee working hard for you. Hopefully the radio industry is going well, Mike. I got Marty right down below. Well, good to have you both in. For Webster, when I went to Webster, the field was always the best, because all undercover was usually the same vendors weekend after weekend. The field was always the best. The tech people on the forum, I don't know how techy those people are. I've heard that comment before too, but I know for fact, I've been told by a head of seller support and head of seller services, you don't talk to tech unless it's like a public liaisons person who has a specific permission to do something. You're not going to talk to Joe Schmo. And just because it's coming from a tech department, it could just be the people who answer and refer the messages back. Again, I've worked in a tech department for training way back in college days, because it was one of those things you had to do for a certain length of time. So I really wonder on all that stuff when they answer it. I question on if it's really a tech person you're talking to. Again, I talked to people who were head of a department who handle tech, and they weren't tech people. They had no degree in technology, IT degree whatsoever, including the promoted listings person who was in charge of that department had no clue on how it worked, the actual layout of the program itself. She just knew what you're supposed to do and not do. She didn't know anything else about how the structure or anything else worked. She actually changed her story during the conversation after somebody else had texted her back, like 20 minutes after she reassured me that her answer was correct, even though I knew it wasn't. Later on, she had to recant what she said. Again, these are the people who were in charge of departments. This is what they did on there. That's why I say most of the people talking there's no connect. That's why when you call eBay, you get a different answer every time you call. It's the same way with the departments across the board. I mean, I've been told things that there's just no logical aspect from head of departments from eBay, which, I can sit there and pretty much show you what I'm talking about is correct and what they were trying to say didn't float with what we're seeing. Just like the shipping issues. I've been told that's not something happening by somebody who supposedly talked to eBay. Again, there's too many people telling me it's happening. I fully believe all the people telling me it's happening. Why is the question? Yeah, so some of them is sent to tech support, but you don't get an answer. You're not talking to tech support from anything I have heard. Yeah, it's possible there is some emails, but again, as I said, I have talked to, and I'm not going to shout out his name, but I've talked to head of seller services and seller support and other departments for like a couple hours on many, many different issues, on several different conversations, not just one, not just two, but several. And everything's the same, no contact. The biggest secret, as I said, is their logarithm at eBay. That's their biggest top secret thing. The NDA for that, you just speak on it and you can get fired from what I understand. And that's for any company too. That whole image thing was ridiculous. What you are describing is a horrible way to store and link things. Yeah, if as you're saying, IT classes here too, that's obviously how they were doing them. That's why I say from that experience alone, you know how they're doing them. You know somewhat on the structure of their setup. You know that they're splitting stuff up. You know that certain aspects of one listing aren't even stored in the same location when it's highly infeasibly possible. Again, maybe they haven't updated in decades. That the way that they were doing it back then, I don't know anybody who would set it up that way to begin with. Maybe, again, it's 10 years old, but the whole aspect of them losing the images and stuff was ridiculous. And it from an IT point, knowing how IT works, that's the point that they are figuring out if you've got more than one image. Right there, the link between where it's uploading and where it's actually going to the main frame structure of that specific listing when it pops up. Again, I'm leaving out some technical information. I'm just the basic information so you can kind of get a gist on it. Again, the setup that they're doing is where they're determining issues like that. If you don't update required item specific will be... I do every required one. All the required ones I recommend fully doing immediately, Sam Dallas, on any of the item specifics. No idea if they'll take them down, but if they're required, I'm just going to do them. It's no big deal. And you can either bulk do them from the edit option. It does look like the added on option that they got where you can download does work much better. Again, that wasn't an option when I did the video about it. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, eBay is lost on some of those. I have to agree. Yeah, I do love Webster. I did love it when I was there. It was a great place to go. I sourced all the time. I see above talk of free listing. I think it is a very bad idea, in my opinion. I use calculated shipping so I don't get screwed sending to other side of U.S. Yeah, that is a point. If you're doing free shipping like clothing, you have to do free shipping for the most part. If you're doing free shipping on clothing, I always do the highest, most expensive shipping rate in the country as the free shipping add-on to the listing. Again, it's free shipping, but I'll increase the price of the item by what it would cost me to ship the most expensive item. Of course, if it doesn't go that far, you save and make a little extra money. That's not the intention, but the only way to do free shipping and cover yourself is to make sure that the rate that you include, the amount you add on to your item price, is enough to cover the most expensive shipping method. That's just how I have always done it, if I do free shipping. But I've heard people, like somebody sent a radio, and they sent me they were pretty upset because they lost like $60 on the deal, and they didn't know. They were asking if they should ask for more money, and unfortunately, if you mess up and it costs you more to ship it, and it was quoted at that price, you can't go back in and ask for it. I'd leave somebody negative feedback if they did that, just for not knowing how the system works before they do it. So they had to spend an extra $60 to ship something to California, and they hadn't thought about that. They just did a quick check on what it would cost to ship, and they didn't go by where it would cost the most. And that's the problem you do. It's annoying for users, but you can understand why they protect their IP. I fully understand why they do it. And that's why I can say that you're not talking... I have never met somebody who talked to somebody who knew for sure they were an IT person. The other channel there's a couple other channels that's saying it's 4 and 5. They don't have an IT degree. They're taking eBay at their word. And the 4 or 5 listings I can probably pull up right now where they say that's what's recommended. That's a recommended number. They're not going to write all this extra code to calculate whether you got 4 or 5 listing or 4 or 5 images. And then they'd be wasting space on a server. They'd be wasting all kinds of stuff. It just makes no sense to clutter up the logarithm with stuff that's not going to be beneficial at all to eBay. That's why I say you're wasting so much time if you're doing a ton of photos for something when you can get away with 2 and do a third zoom in, and that's your third one. So you only have to take 2. And if there are pieces of paper, I can drop them in the scanner. There's no way I'm going to do 4 or 5 images, and it would be stupid for me just to upload 2 identical more images just so I hit the number. It's a total waste of time. I don't see any difference. I got into that conversation with eBay personally, and it just makes no sense. I don't buy the explanation. The explanation coming to me wasn't from anybody who knew how it worked. No IT guys, no nothing. And again, I asked to talk to IT on many different occasions. Yeah, but I fully get why I don't share certain stuff. I've got some PHP scripting and stuff like that I've had people ask about, and I don't give that stuff out. Visual Basics, I code. I know code. I've got C++, Visual Basics, and other things as well too. CSS. I love doing JavaScript and all that stuff too. But well, thank you, Rob. We just got over, I see that was probably a little bit ago that you left that, but we just hit 102 likes, so I appreciate that. Thank you very kindly. Let's see here, where am I at? I think I missed something. Hang on just a second here. Hellview's Corner, I've been out that way too. And Renninger's, I used to do Renninger's in Mount Dora. Renninger's was always better than that. Mount Dora always was good. I don't doubt that the VPs and suits and PR people obfuscate tech stuff like crazy and don't know how it works, but sometimes you can get through the cracks to real people. A tiny bit. That may be possible, but I bet you $1 million they're not supposed to say a word. I'm not in managed payments yet. Susan Arrington noticed all my first class media rates always show priority when I do label, but customer paid for the first in media. Dread moving to managed, they say, will happen at the end of October. I'm fine still with managed payments. I mean, I had just as many, well, probably more issues with like sorry, it's not you, it's us errors and stuff, or my page gets lost and stuff. Marky was listening today, and I know she had a bunch of times where it timed out, oops, and she had to reload the page just to list the item. Hang on just a second here. Let me slide down. People have no idea how much better. Well, I'm not better than anybody else. I won't. Yeah. Now I'll touch on that, Joe. Joe saying YouTubers that have a couple hundred things listed and they try teaching people what to do. I appreciate this so much about you. Well, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, and I get accused of that. I don't know why people assume that I'm arrogant. I've done this for 20 some odd years. I mean, how else am I supposed to be after knowing how it works? I don't know. The point of it is I see people say this person, that person, and if you got a couple hundred items in your store and you've only been doing eBay for 6 months, you're not the right person that someone should be watching, or even a year to be able to learn how to do all the little intricacies about all this stuff. I'm not the best person for everything, and there's people out there that know a lot more than me about certain aspects in reselling in areas that I don't touch on. So, but I would never recommend somebody following somebody who's got a couple hundred listings or sells almost nothing, and is all preaching on courses and stuff like that, because they're making their money from the courses. Just like again, I don't mind watching some of the haul videos depending on the person who puts them up. I watch Dom's, of course, but they're all clickbait to me these days. They don't, the prices they tell you and stuff. I know I put out haul videos too, but you can pretty much look at my store and my sales to know that my prices are in the range that I sell in. They're not like fictitious, so I'm going to give out some crazy price and stuff. And a lot of the people seem to pay for their items from the video itself, so they don't even care if they sell it, those are the ones that drive me nuts, I guess, that when people say, hey, this person, that person, I don't watch most everybody's videos, and once somebody makes some comments that aren't the best comment, I'm totally turned off and I'll never ever watch their stuff again, or make some comments that are just not right comments, I should say. I've had a few comments made, and I don't agree with a lot of that stuff. I know I've got a paid Patreon, but I'm offering content. I'm not. If you're not interested in advancing and trying to figure out stuff as well, then I don't think you should be a reseller if you don't want to learn as much as you can. I don't get it. There's no quick money, and it seems that most of the people watch certain videos and wow, look at all the stuff they're finding. That's not the real world. That's not how it works. You don't just go out every day and you're going to find something and make $1,000 a day. It doesn't work that way. It took us 3 years of eating ramen noodles and feeding the kids all the good stuff just to get to a point where we were making enough to come in. And just anybody who's thinking this is some fantasy great job and best thing to do in the world is crazy. And they do a disservice to folks who try really hard and invest a lot of time into doing this. I'm a reseller. That's why I don't care about, as much all the Facebook and all that stuff. Again, Instagram's okay because I can just turn on, hit a button, and record something or post. I don't do it as much as I should, but again, I'm a reseller. All my business doesn't go into doing videos and making money off of it. You don't make money off the videos. They're making it off courses. There's a couple YouTubers who talk about all the stuff they do, and I sat down and calculated what they're getting off of their courses. Their money's coming from a course. I mean, it's just so obvious. Again, I have people that I like that do have courses, so I'm not saying everybody's bad, but there's, just like any industry, there's far too many charlatans out there trying to give you advice, and you pay for their advice, and it's just bad advice. Thank you, CC Ryder. Yeah, Flashlight Sandra's saying the same thing. But I usually beat her there. 4:30 was usually when I try to get there. I usually left at 4. If I set up, I left at 3:30. Having a garage sale Saturday at church. Susan, you might try, well, I don't, it depends. Around here, I would take all my leftovers that I can't sell, take them to the local auction. I don't have to sit there. I don't have to do anything. So my time isn't spent running the garage sale. And then I can save that time. I guess my time is more valuable than sitting somewhere. Again, I'm not trying to criticize. I just think about stuff like that, too. I was looking at someone's store the other day, and they had sterling silver up. And this is a call out to everybody selling gold and silver. And I meant to do a video on this, and I haven't had a chance. Check it again. The price on gold the other day was $1,980. If you've priced some of your stuff and you've had gold and sterling up for a year or two, the price now on sterling was, I think, around 16 or 17. So if you're selling like a ounce item on eBay for $10, you're losing money on it. You could just go down to the local scrappers jewelry store. Like here, I have one, and I can get silver costs for it. I can get $15, $16 instead of just blowing it out and paying a fee on it. So we've went through and checked all of our sterling up weight-wise. Anything that was higher price, we'd get more money to sell it locally. It's all been pulled, every one of them. Same with gold and the whole works, because even like a 14-karat necklace I got the other day, I got just a couple bucks into it. I mean, a couple dollars, because I'm going to do that in a Patreon video. But the point is, it's worth $500, and it's some small, tiny by weight. You can go online. There's a scrap value guide you can look for too on there. Anyway, just check all your gold and silver. I honestly would recommend this to anybody who has it up right now, because you're giving some of it away with the cost. That's one of the areas you've got to pay attention to constantly, is gold and silver values, if you sell any of it. I know you can't sell scrap and bullion, but jewelry is still fully fledged fine. So if you're selling gold jewelry on there, go back and check it out. I promise you might have some items that would be worth more selling it for scrap now with the cost than they were before. So nothing's wrong with having extra photos. That is, but you're talking a lot of time if you're taking a picture with a camera. You're and upload and all that other stuff. And if you got a piece of paper and you're doing 600 DPI like we do with the scanner, I would never ever need more than the 2 photos, because every single little detail of that can be blown up larger than the size of my 17.1-inch screens, and you could fill up the whole screen if you do it at 600 DPI. It would be pointless for me to do anything else. It would be a waste of my time. So, Morrissey, with photos, it's time. It's a lot of time. If you need 5 or 6 photos, if you need 12, use 12. But for a piece of paper, you don't need more than 2, maybe 3 if it opens up and unfolds. 5 if it's a brochure. Even multi-page. I only do 5 for those. I've got a set amount we do. I do 12 photos for certain things. If I've got 12 cards in a lot, I do 12 faces of those 12 items, and I've got 12 photos in there. If I'm taking a toy lot, chances are I'm using all 12 photos. If I'm doing vintage anything, I'm doing enough to show all of the items. I'm not saying to skimp on items that need it, but a piece of paper it's ridiculous. A comic book, at best I would do 3, 5 if it's an expensive one, 3 if it's just a common one, front, back, and the centerfold. That's usually what I do, so they can see if there's a page missing out of the middle. Those are the 3 I do if it's like a $10, $20, $30 comic book. Sometimes if it's a $10 comic book, I only do a front and a back. It's not worth the extra time to do it. They still sell. So, it depends on condition. There's a lot of things in it, of course. Small town in Idaho. I don't know if I've actually stayed in Idaho. I know I've driven through it with the family years and years, like 40 years ago, but I don't remember a thing. Chicken fried steak, good evening. Nothing bad about a chicken fried steak. When I worked at Cracker Barrel, I did get chicken fried steak occasionally with the gravy on top. But I've got to, if I'm in a restaurant, I eat too much. That's one bad thing about working in restaurants. I burned it all off, but I just always ate too much. Church sale at most excellent idea. I've got thousands of items that I need to blow out. Take them to an auction. I'm telling you, as long as you've got a good auction house. The prices are high at auctions now because people can't source locally garage sales and stuff, at least around here. It depends on your neighborhood, depends on what state you're in and all, but around here I do much better at the auctions than if I tried to run them somewhere else. again, around here, people are going to be shied off on going to a garage sale, in my book, for $1 or $2 item, or a $2 or $3 item. I'd just rather blow them at an auction and save the time. If I got to sit up somewhere for 6 hours, I get, close to $100 an hour on average if I'm doing something. Usually, if I'm gonna charge for my service somewhere, it's $95 an hour is usually what I charge across the board. And I don't know if that's a lot to other people or not. I don't know what everybody else charges, but I've been told I should charge more than that, because I know people who do charge more. But that's my going consultation fee rate, usually is $95 an hour. I know lawyers at $150 or whatever, but I'm not a lawyer, so I got to figure out, if I'm going to set somewhere, how much money am I going to lose sitting at that location, not being able to list or do something. So that's my take on that. I'd rather lose a few bucks and not have to put in the time at a place and just sell it locally at my local auction. Let some other dealer buy it. They'll buy it in bulk. I don't care. It's gone. It's out the door. Hang on. Annie had one, and where did I just lost Annie's? I'd imagine if eBay recommended 4 to 5 images because they think that's what sells, typically items, clothing, whatever, better, makes consumers happier, but not because it's... Yeah, that's exactly right. Annie's got it right there. That's exactly what I think it is. From all the evidence, there's no evidence that suggests any otherwise other than its recommendations. I personally feel the average one is probably in the 4 to 5 range of photos that they have. Again, eBay's been preaching that for a decade, 2 decades probably. I know for the last decade I've heard it forever. There used to be a couple posts on recommended. They had a frequently answered sheet like 6-7 years ago, and it had recommendations for like all that stuff in there, if I remember right. So I see that's the case in my book. It's pointless to go over it and waste your time. If you're doubling the amount of images you got to take and doubling the amount of images you've got to upload, you could be cutting the amount of items you list in half. I'd rather just do the 2 and be fine with it, because my sales aren't affected by anything even remotely tied to how many images I have up in my book. Again, I've done all that studies years ago. I'm not even going to waste my time on it anymore. If my sales were all suddenly immediately tanked on just the ones that had 2 or 3 photos, then it might be a different story, but that's not the case. Most of what we sell only has 2 or 3 photos. Let's see here. I think I've missed something here. Again, my feed does bop a little bit, so I don't want to miss any conversation here. I know I may be behind. Now with books, if it's a first edition book, if it has a dust jacket as well, it's probably 5 photos for any book I would do that's a first edition that I want to sell. Because I'll usually do the book open with the dust jacket off. I'll do a front and back of the dust jacket so you can see with the flaps. So that's 3 right there. Then I'll do the title page, and then I'll do the copyright page as well. So there's usually 5 for any decent book that I do. Comic books are different, but a book itself, you want to show like edges and things like that. The last Stephen King I think we listed had 6 images on it. So we showed the spine, and then the page side, so you can see the no writing, no library stamping or anything like that on it. Again, it depends. If you need 5, 6, 10, 12, I use them all. But it's pointless to do it for stamps. It's pointless to do it for poster stamps and cards and things like that. Lots are where I use the most photos. I'll usually try, if it's a big lot, to do 12 photos. It depends on what you're selling, but one-off, single page, single pieces of paper, postcard, it's pointless. It's pointless. It's a waste of time. I know postcard dealers who go to the postcard shows very, very well. I know postcard people. I've got a couple 100,000 postcards in-house. Nobody that I know worries about the extra images like that. Nobody I know complains about sales because they only have 2 or 3 images. Nobody. I've never even heard anybody ever say, oh, I'm not having enough photos, I'm not wasting extra time, and I'm not getting the sales. I just don't see it. The factors that weigh anything would be what the item is, your images, your title. they're not going to say, well, there's only 2 of these items up on all of eBay, but we're not going to show your item because you only have 4 photos and we require 5. It's just not logical. It's a recommended, just like everything else eBay says. They're not going to give you any hints on how the algorithm works. Just like people saying they're going to trick the algorithm. Anybody who says that, I won't watch them to start with. There's no way that's way smarter than anybody gives them credit for. Most people haven't a clue what a logarithm is even going to look like on a piece of paper or in script. So whenever I hear people say that, they're 99.999% of the time somebody who has no clue on IT, including all the other channels that are telling you 4 and 5 and all this stuff. They're not IT people. They don't know the bare bones how that works. That's just the way it is. I have no idea what time it is. I know I'm just rambling here. We'll go for just a few more minutes here. Yeah, if you're selling clothes, I don't know what Sandra's selling here. But again, if you're selling stuff and you need the photos, go for it. I'm not telling you not to do it, but if you're wasting them on stuff that it's just unlogical, 9, 10, 12 photos for a postcard, oh my gosh, if you're photoing them too, man. If you want to have it look like you got 5 photos, just take a scan of the front and back with a duplex scanner if it's a postcard and upload 5 copies of it and just zoom in on different sections of the postcard. You only have to do 2. It'll save you time at least. And you can still say, hey, I got the 5 if you're gung-ho to have the 5. But again, I'm not worried about it. It doesn't bother me in the slightest bit that other people are saying that, because I'm looking at the evidence. I'm looking at how a structure of a database works. I'm looking at how the keys are taken out of there, how the logarithm has to be gathering the information. There's only certain points that you can capture, search criteria information, when it's going through certain places, when it's tunneling around and stuff. It makes no other sense, As far as the postage, I think they are sorting it by percentage discount from the regular price. Not sure why, but I think that's what is happening. That I haven't seen it but once, so if I do see it, I will definitely call it out too. Or someone that has been on eBay for 1 year. I've been on for 20 and still learning. I still learn stuff. I'm not going to say I don't, but I don't follow those just getting on that I have a course after being on eBay for 6 months, or that only have a handful of things up just to show a video, or those that start a new store just to have a video series on starting a store and stuff. I'm not interested in that aspect. Again, people criticize me for not talking about this topic or that topic, but I talk about what I know and what I do, and this is what I talk about. And I don't watch too many videos on any other channels or anything like that. It's not worth my time. I know how to do the stuff that I sell. I don't know how to do clothing anymore, and I don't know sports specifically and stuff like that. And I don't mess with it. So anyway, do what works for you is the best bottom line I can say. Do what works for you. Tracy Van Wegen, I have a post on Instagram on my reseller page regarding the shipping issue. Contacted eBay for business who told me they are aware of the issue and added my username to the ticket. God, I'd hate to see how many people's names are on those tickets. You're talking thousands. If the percentage of people that watch my channel are saying they have the issue, you must multiply that by 1,000. There's a lot of people then. See, and keep in mind, if this is a managed payment issue, managed payments has been around for like a year and maybe even a year and a half. They've had that much time, so it has to be they're rolling stuff out to rush it in through third quarter, and they don't have it fixed, or fourth quarter, I'm sorry, and they don't have it fixed once again in fourth quarter. eBay does this every year. It's the only site I know that rolls out a whole bunch of, crap, all in the fourth quarter, right at the fourth quarter. Stuff that they haven't even vetted for any length of time. If they had vetted all this stuff wouldn't happen. You'll run it in a virtual machine, all this stuff running. You can run a whole bunch of virtual machines on a server and have examples to figure out where the errors are, where it's going to happen before you ever make it go live. It's crazy. And if they did that, whoever's testing and fielding the issues doesn't know what they're doing enough. They need to hire better people, I guess. Yeah, there might be a book Retro Bar in Australia. They might be trying to grow the channel, but if they're growing it by offering information that's not really very good, it's just a ripoff. You're a charlatan. You're selling snake oil in my book. Yeah, and of course you want get more audience and stuff and make money. Anybody thinks they're going to make the money on YouTube, but you don't make it off YouTube. You make it off those courses everybody's selling. Again, I can't do that. My morality, my personal. Again, I'm not saying people who do it are immoral. I can't do it. I'm not interested in somebody taking a course and hoping they're successful. That's not me. There's liability tied to it and things like that as well. I've had just a handful bump up to priority. When I cancel and proceed a second time, I can change my shipping options to first class. The 716 crew. Why does my item say 13 watchers in my offer? It only sends to one interested buyer. eBay can explain that. They have a explanation on that. I'll give it to you right here. The offers to watchers are only available to certain watchers. Certain people don't respond. Certain people may have gotten 100 other offers already. They limit to them. So each person watching, it's not going to get at the same time. Sometimes you can send out 3 or 4 people will get your offer, and sometimes it's just one. The amount of watchers doesn't mean much specifically, only if they show up on the ability for you to send an offer to a watcher. But there's no guarantee ever that you're going to be able to send it out to any certain amount of people. Again, because of those reasons. Nobody wants to get bombarded with 100 offers every single day of the week. So that's why it's limited to who gets them. So if that person was watching your item and 10 different of these, there are 10 different items just like yours on 10 different sellers, those other sellers could have beat you to the punch for half of those people, and boom, you can't send that person an offer. That's why I say, if you're doing offers to watchers, you need to do it all day long, constantly checking them over and over and over and over again. That would be my personal guesstimate on that. And it's always done me very, very well on that side of things. So just FYI. It's not weird. It's the way it works. It makes perfect sense when you look at it from the point of how many you get. It's just like YouTube. You have to constantly keep hitting the bell because YouTube will deactivate notices for people and stuff like that constantly. So I get it. It makes sense, I guess, to me for what they're doing. Doesn't bother me. As long as I can send out a couple, my odds of sending out offers and people accepting them are fairly high, across 30, 35% maybe, sometimes 40 or better percent. Depends, again, the item price. Sometimes, too, I'll be able to send offers, not knowing, of course, but the same person will be watching like 10 or 12 items. And I can send offers to all of those because I'm the only person they're watching the way it looks. And I asked somebody that. So that's why I say I was able to send one out to every single every one of those items. They all went to the same person. They bought them all. So when you have routine people buying from you, ask them some questions. Ask them where they watching other items. Ask them how long they were watching those items. Ask them some information. You've got the options to figure out how it's going on yourself by asking them. So I say, conversing with your potential buyers is the best way to get sales and get business and let them know who you are. And far too many people just don't ask questions of the buyers. They don't want to even converse with the buyers. You can't converse in real life, so, emails, contacts, as long as you're not hitting them up to buy things, you can ask them questions like, how long did you watch it? And, were you watching any other items? And on and on and on and on. There's many different ways to do that. Hang on just a second. I think I just lost. Yeah, my feed just went off. I'm going to let it go, I guess, since we've already hit way past what I expected to go on. I'm going to end it tonight with the Joker one more time. Again, the contest is next week is the day I pick the winner. $500 plus probably worth. Hundreds of items are going to be in this for you. Collectibles of every type that I sell from my inventory, not junk stuff you'll be able to sell. One item in this box will get you $80 right off the bat, right after you list it. I can almost guarantee you it. So, if you want to get some free inventory right before Christmas to get some extra money that you don't have to do anything for, mailed free of charge to your house, enter the contest on Instagram. Again, I'm going to end it off with that. We won't have the usual ending screen. I'll just end it with Joker for this one time. Again, this is the biggest giveaway I've done And it's something good. You can milk it probably for more than that if you set up or you're a dealer and do flea markets too, because there's a lot of flea market stuff that could go for decent money in there as well. You can lot some of it up. A lot of it will sell individually that could get you some good money too. So we are going to end it with the Joker though, and I do appreciate everybody coming on. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. If you haven't hit the like button, please pop that like button for me as well.
Last seen headed north on Highway 480. The manhunt started 2 days ago when the largest, and they are still searching for him, the Joker, is wanted for.
Next week, Thursday, there will be a giveaway of something really good. You don't want to miss it. What do your balls drop off? You don't want to be called scared, do you? You gonna be there? You ain't gonna miss it, are ya? Next Thursday is the show. You gonna be there? You gonna watch it? It's coming. I promise it will be worth your while.